All right, so for the past couple of years, the big story in AI has been all about creating, right? AI that can write, that can code, that can make images, and that's all generative AI. But what's next? Well, we're on the verge of a huge leap from an AI that just responds to us to an AI that can actually act for us. Welcome to the world of AI agents.
You know, this quote from Paul Chada just nails it. It's the perfect way to frame this shift. We're not talking about a train stuck on a fixed track anymore. That's old school automation. We're talking about a self-driving car, something that can see the road, make decisions, and figure out how to get to the destination, even if there's a detour.
And that's the core idea here. It's this leap from responsive tools to proactive digital workers. Think about it. A chatbot just sits there and waits for your question. But an AI agent, you give it a goal, something like, hey, book me a flight to London for next week and keep it under $1,000, and it just goes and does it. So what's the magic here? What's under the hood that gives an agent this incredible ability to act? Let's, break down the core components that make an agent, well, an agent. Okay, here's the textbook definition, but let's just focus on the key words here: autonomously and proactively. This isn't about just running a script from top to bottom. It's about having the agency to figure out the necessary steps and then actually carry them out all on its own to hit that final goal. So first up, every single agent has a goal. It's driven by an objective. You can give it something really complex, like organize our next marketing campaign, and it can break that down into smaller bite-sized tasks, researching the right audience, drafting some email copy, even scheduling out social media posts. It figures out the how. And here's the cool part. Agents aren't just thinkers, they're doers. To get stuff done, they can use tools, real tools. We're talking access to your calendar, a company database, or even public APIs to check flight prices or the weather. They use these to gather info and take action in the real digital world.
This is where things get really smart. An agent isn't just blindly following a to-do list. It can weigh different options, it can think ahead about what might happen, and it makes decisions based on the context. So if that flight it wanted gets booked, it doesn't just give up. It reasons that it needs to find a different one that still fits your rules.
And finally, these agents aren't one and done. They're not static. Based on feedback and all the interactions they have, they can actually get better over time. They refine their process, they improve their choices, so the more it helps you, the better it gets at knowing what you actually want. So let's make this crystal clear. Generative AI, like a ChatGPT, is the engine. It's the part that produces amazing text or images. Agentic AI is the whole car. It uses that powerful generative engine to think and communicate, but then it adds the steering wheel, the gas pedal, the ability to use tools and drive itself towards a goal. All right, so the theory is fascinating, but how do you actually go about building one of these? Let's switch gears and look at a really practical, hands-on framework for designing an AI agent. The biggest mental hurdle to get over is to stop thinking about code and start thinking about a coworker. The best way to design an agent is to create a worker persona, almost like you're hiring a new person for your team, with specific strengths, weaknesses, and a clear role to play. And this framework right here is a fantastic way to do it. It forces you to think through everything. You give your agent a name, you define its one true purpose, you list out exactly what it can do, but just as important, you define what it can't do. What are its limitations? What tools does it need to function? And how is it going to talk to the rest of the team? I mean, it's the perfect way to think about it, right? You would never hire a human without a super clear job description, and you shouldn't build an agent without one either. Thinking this way just makes the whole thing click, even if you're not a super technical person. So now you've got this powerful new digital teammate. Where do you put it to work? The real trick is knowing when an agent is the perfect tool for the job and when it's frankly just, total overkill. Let's walk through a couple of examples. All right, pop quiz time. Let's see how you're doing. Picture a system that takes in all those messy IT support tickets, figures out how urgent they are and who should handle them, and maybe even gives some basic advice. Is that a good fit for an AI agent?
Yes, absolutely. This is a textbook A+ example of a fantastic use case for an agent.
And here's why. IT requests are just chaotic, right? People are stressed, they describe problems in a million different ways, and the right fix often depends on context, like who is this person, what computer are they on? This kind of messy, nuanced judgment is exactly where an agent shines.
Okay, round two.
Now, think about a system that just pulls data off of invoices, matches them up with purchase orders, and gets them ready for payment. Simple, repetitive, what do we think? Good fit?
This one, on the other hand, is a poor use case. You could use an agent here, but its advanced skills would be totally wasted. It's like using a race car to go get groceries.
And the reason is simple. This task is the polar opposite of the IT help desk. It's super structured, it's repetitive, and the rules almost never change. You don't need an agent's complex reasoning for this. Old-school automation, RPA, is way cheaper, faster, and honestly, more reliable for a job like this.
Okay, let's level up. We've been talking about a single agent, but what happens when a problem is too big for just one? And, maybe more importantly, how do you make sure these things, which act on their own, operate safely?
Well, there are two main ways to get agents to team up. First is the manager pattern. This is where you have one boss agent who delegates tasks to a team of specialized agents. The other is the decentralized pattern, which is more like a relay race, where each agent is a peer and just hands off the task to the next specialist in line.
But look, giving anything this much autonomy can be risky. That's why building a safety net is not just a good idea, it is absolutely essential. We're talking about guardrails that keep the agent from going off topic, that block malicious attacks, and that protect private data. And maybe the most critical of all, requiring a human to say yes before any high-risk action, like, deleting a database or spending real money.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important takeaway here. The best safety feature you can build isn't another line of code. It's a well-thought-out plan for when the agent needs to stop, raise its hand, and ask a human for help. The future isn't about replacing people, it's about creating an incredible collaboration between us and our new digital teammates. So think about it. What part of your work could an agent completely transform?